St. Benedict seems a very opportune feast for a deacon to give his maiden homily. Deacons are consecrated, set apart for service of the word and service at table. They serve the word by proclaiming the gospel and by preaching and teaching. They serve at table both in the sense of serving at the altar and serving at our earthly table, serving people's earthly needs, administering the church's practical charity. And throughout history, St. Benedict's monks have been renowned, among many other things, for their service of the word in contemplation and their generous hospitality. The very first word of St. Benedict's rule is listen. And his monks listen to the word both in the intimacy of Lectio Divina, but also in their public recitation, in their public singing of the divine office, the Opus Dei, the work of God, which is to be preferred above all other things, says the rule. And as for hospitality, St. Benedict says that the stranger, the anycomer who happens upon the monastery, must be received as Christ. But what is a Dominican deacon to say of St. Benedict's way of life? A few years ago, there was a book published with the title The Benedict Option, and its author proposed that Christian efforts to live the gospel in the modern secular world had reached their tether's end, and that the only option now available for those who wanted to live a really, truly authentic Christian life was to withdraw from the mainstream, to withdraw from a polluting culture, and to establish their own miniature societies, their own micro-communities, with their own forms of education and social support, which were informed by gospel values and where justice could really be shown as a beacon. Now, the fact that he chose Benedict as a model for this rests on a very particular perception of Benedictine life, one which thinks that the essence of monasticism is fuga mundi, running away from the world, trying to get away from all the nastiness we see around us. In the online conversation that was generated by this book, I came across an article, a critical article, entitled The Dominic Option. And the author of this piece suggested that, on the contrary, we shouldn't be running away from, but running towards all those places, towards the towns and the cities, the universities, the centers of government and decision-making, all those places where the gospel is most liable to be complicated, perhaps even corrupted, because it's there that the gospel, above all, needs to be heard. Now, when figures are chosen like this to articulate a theological debate, sometimes we can lose the sense of the place of religious life or the place of a particular spiritual tradition within the church's whole ecology. For the church, whenever possible, it's both and not a dichotomous either or. And so we ought to seek in the Benedictine tradition something that can speak to every Christian, some crystallization or even a cluster of crystallizations that reflect something of the baptismal vocation common to us all. And I put it to you today that one particular valuable crystal we can take away is this theme of hospitality, which draws together contemplation of the word and reception of the stranger on a very profoundly incarnational basis. Because the God from whom we were estranged came among us. He sought our hospitality. He came among his own, and of course most of them have not received him. But to those who did receive him, he became power to become children of God. The great mystery here is that in opening ourselves, opening our hearts, opening our homes to Christ, we find that actually he is opening his divine life for us. In receiving him, we are being received by him. So let's pray today especially for all those who follow St. Benedict's way of life, that they may be faithful to their vocation and icons for us of the way that Christ wishes to receive us here and now and every day, intimately into the life of the Trinity.